Right then, in this video I am diving headfirst into the latest chaos coming out of Ballymena, Northern Ireland, or Ulster, where the locals have had just about enough. And when I say enough, I mean they've taken to the streets, set up road barricades and lit them on fire like it's the grand finale of a Viking funeral. Why? Oh, just a little thing called a string of SAs. You know what I'm talking about. Allegedly committed by migrants. That's got the community ready to blow a gasket. So buckle up, folks. This one's going to get spicy. Now, let's get one thing straight. The people of Ballymena aren't out there torching barricades because they're bored or because they've run out of Netflix to binge. No, they're furious, and rightly so. And why wouldn't they? According to reports, their town's been turned into a hunting ground for predators who, let's just say, weren't born and bred in the rolling green hills of County Antrim. SAs, one after another, and the locals are saying, enough is enough. They're not knitting protest banners or starting a hashtag. They're out there with barricades and petrol sending a message that even a politician with a double-digit IQ could understand. Protect our streets, or we'll do it ourselves. And they are, but of course, cue the usual chorus of hand-wringing apologists clutching their pearls and wailing about community cohesion and diversity is our strength. Give it a rest, will you? When women can't walk home without looking over their shoulder and parents are terrified to let their kids out after dark, you can take your diversity platitudes and shove them where the sun doesn't shine. The people of Ballymena aren't burning barricades because they hate foreigners. They're doing it because they love their families and their town, and they're sick of watching it go down the drain while the powers that be sip their lattes and pretend everything's fine. I'm talking from my experience serving in Ulster 25 odd years ago now, blimey. The locals actually did this to homegrown wrong-uns, so it's nothing to do about the colour of someone's skin or where they're from. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? Immigration. Oh, I can hear the keyboards clacking already, you know, the outrage brigade firing up their ex-post to call me every name under the sun. But here's the thing. When you import people from places where the rule of law is about as respected as a parking ticket and you don't bother to vet them, integrate them, or, God forbid, enforce the law, you're not building a utopia. You're building a tinderbox, and Ballymena's just the latest place to go up in flames. The locals aren't the villains here. They're the ones left picking up the pieces while the politicians who caused this mess are safely tucked away in their gated communities. And what is the response from the authorities, by the way? Oh, you'll love this. They're probably drafting a press release right now about how they're monitoring the situation and urging calm. Urging calm? Are you kidding me? How about urging some action for once? How about rounding up the perpetrators, locking them up and sending a message that this kind of behaviour gets you a one-way ticket to a cell, or better yet, back to wherever you came from? But no, that would be too sensible, wouldn't it? Instead, we'll get another lecture about tolerance while the streets burns and the victims are left to fend for themselves. And here's the thing, the media's already spinning this like a cheap top. Far-right extremists, they'll call the locals, xenophobic mob, etc., etc. Never mind that these ordinary people, mothers, fathers, workers, people who pay their taxes, who just want their town back. Never mind that they're reacting to real crimes, real fear, real failure from the people who are supposed to protect them. But no, let's just slap a label on them and move on. It's easy to admit the truth that unchecked immigration without assimilation is a recipe for disaster, and Ballymena's just the latest proof. So what's next? Well, if history is any guide, the government will double down, of course. More police to crack down on the rioters or protesters, more excuse for the criminals, and more empty promises about lessons learned. Meanwhile, the people of Ballymena are left to clean up the ashes, literally and figuratively. And here's a thought, maybe, just maybe, if the powers that be actually listened, then none of this would be happening. But the truth is, the locals aren't the problem here. The problem is a system that's more concerned with optics than justice, more worried about feelings than facts. So to the people of Ballymena I say this, keep fighting. Not with fire, mind you, not with violence, but with your voices, your votes, and your refusal to be silenced. You're not the bad guys here. You're the one saying what everyone else is thinking. A community should be a safe place, not a battleground. And to the politicians watching this from their ivory towers, here's a tip. Start listening to your people. All those barricades are just the beginning. I remember growing up here back in the early 80s and watching the miners' strikes and the riots they were involved in and thinking, oh, that won't happen again in this country. How wrong I was. Anyway, there we go. I'm past 49. Thanks for watching. And until the next time, stay safe, stay angry, and don't let anyone tell you your town isn't worth fighting for. I'll see you at the next one. Roger Trout.